Yes, Friedrich, of course, is a well-known name here at iSquare. He is our very own Chief Financial Officer and partner at iSquare. And we are very happy to have him as our last speaker, kind of as a wrap-up. We started with Michael as the founder, and now we came all the way to Friedrich, because in a way, Friedrich is also Generation Zero. He wasn't an employee at that time, but you have been with us as an advisor for 25 years now. So in his current role, he can look back to the entire 25 years history, but he can now also look into the future with our latest developments in the field of eye tracking.
Thank you. So, hello everybody. I'm the one keeping you away from the drinks and the boat trip, so I try to keep my presentation short and to the point, but still hope to inspire you for one of iSquare's core methods, eye tracking. So, what do we want to achieve? We want to do nothing less than we aim to revolutionize the art of eye tracking. So why art? Art, I say, is because it's technically not trivial. It's, you generate a lot of data, which of course you have to process, you have to analyze, and then you have to interpret the results in a meaningful way to generate insights for the client or the research questions. So this is what iSquare has been mastering over the past 25 years, and we have successfully applied eye tracking to thousands of research questions in different setups and used different eye tracking technologies. And now I want to show you our recent developments. But before we go back into the details of this, let's take a step back and look at how it all began. And Michael, of course, started this also this morning in his presentation. He mentioned the first year, 1999, it all started with Sabrina and Michael. The first company, the GBR, was founded by the two founders. We had the first office, which was still in Prenzlauer Berg. Not here, so not everybody knows this. But this was also the time when the first eye tracker was purchased. So in 1999, I met Sabrina and Michael at a startup pitch night. And me being not a psychologist, I heard Michael and Sabrina presenting this somehow, for me, crazy idea of using eye tracking for market research purposes. But on the other hand, I found this also to be very fascinating, and the way they presented this was very interesting. And so finally they got the first eye tracker. They really made this, and but of course the eye tracker was very big, was cumbersome. It was very expensive. From what I remember, we were talking about 50,000 Deutsche Mark at this time. So of course there was a problem. Where's the money coming from? But finally they made it, and this is the foundation of, from a methodology point of view, of iSquare. And a year later, in 2000, the current company was founded. We moved finally the office to this place here. We expanded the shareholder base. With now 4 shareholders of the company, new office, and you're still here in the same office today. So, eye tracking somehow is the core of iSquare's DNA. I would now, let's take a look back. You see here, these are some early examples from the early years of different eye trackers, where the the bicycle helmet version was one of the more stable ones and used for several years, I think. Of course, iSquare was experimenting with different designs, different technologies, but this was, of course, only a short period when you look at the entire history of eye tracking, which started much earlier. So let's take a look back. About 150 years ago, the first eye tracking studies were made by a French guy, Louis-Émile Yaval. He was a doctor, and he made the first observations of eye movements. And he was looking for a way to cure strabismus, and he finally, by training the eye and by training the eye movement, so he finally found this out. And 1901, the first photographic eye tracker was set up, and then followed 1908 by Edmund Hughes' first technical eye tracker, and this was also very interesting. It was a machine used to track eye movement while reading. And the device allowed you to observe what a reader was looking at while reading, and he was also able to study which words he looked at and which he would pause on. So as the reading speed differs from word to word. Later developments in eye tracking technology arrived when Charles Judd developed the eye movement camera, a non-intrusive eye tracker device that recorded motions of eyes on films, allowing detailed study of eye motion. And along with Judd, a guy called Thomas Buswell studied and analyzed eye movements in reading with different ages and levels of schooling. So this was the early times of eye tracking, and the first head-mounted eye tracking device was developed in 1948 by Hartridge and Thompson. And this special thing about this device was that it allowed to move the head freely. It was very cumbersome and big, and of course not a pleasure to be the study participant, I would assume, but it was the first head-mounted eye tracker at the time. And in 1967, the whole eye tracking movement got a further boost when Alfred Jabus published the book on eye movements and vision, which is seen by many as the core or the foundation of today's eye tracking, which was described early in this book. And in the 80s, we saw the first bloom of the eye tracking, mostly in a clinical research or research environment, not so much for market research, because still at this time, eye tracking was very expensive, very cumbersome to use, and it wasn't applied widely for market research. But this changed, of course, with the tech revolution starting in 2000 or so, where we saw also different developments on the eye tracking with remote eye trackers based on infrared, with also head-mounted eye trackers developing to glasses like the pupil lab glasses. We saw webcam eye tracking, and finally we recently saw with companies like Neurons, artificial intelligence-based eye tracking based on prediction, which of course still have some limitations, but also we see some potential there. Let's go back to Alfred Jabus and his findings in his book from 1967. This was the machine he set up to make his observations. And when you look at his findings, one of the key findings he made was that eye tracking is context-driven. So here you have an example of a famous painting by a Russian artist called Repin, where a guy, a man, older man, is entering a room and looking at several people. And the question here is now if the context is determining the age of the persons or determining the wealth of the persons by looking at their clothes, the eye tracking patterns differ. So this is a good example that was one of the findings of him, that eye tracking is context-driven. And it can be directed by the viewer's interest and task, and it changes if you give different tasks to the participant. So now let's move on and go back to today's I-square methodology, which is driven by attention. And the basis for this is attention as based on the perception, and this is what we call the system zero. And here you see this is the I-square model, the founding model. And what we are talking here now is about the system zero, the eye tracking, that is related to the perception and the measuring of the perception. And so attention, if you look at the attention patterns as detected by the eye tracking and expressed by things like the length of the fixations or the repeated views, of course they can be expanded. And when we now also add emotions and the activation to this, and then we have that the last one, if we do this over time, of course we somehow develop the relevance and the understanding, which then can result in things like the brand reference and the recognition, brand recognition. And so let's take a deeper look. And as I-square has demonstrated in many studies, attention and recognition is not linear. So it's the first 2.5 seconds that count in order to create the greatest effect on the recognition. And this, keeping in mind, is now what we look at when we talk about our eye tracking and how it fits in our USPs. So basically, here on this slide, you see 2 core USPs of I-square. One is our in-context testing technology, where we, in natural environments, test media and e-com sites, and combined with our implicit methods like eye tracking. And now we put this together, and we talk about the measurement of the different systems 0, 1, and 2, and we see the initial attention as detected by eye tracking, for example, for this system 0. We see the emotions set up in the system 2, and finally, of course, the explicit part as related to our thinking. And so let's look at now where we are with the eye tracking today. So this is all I was saying about in my previous speeches, giving you, so to speak, a roadmap to the eye tracking development of our newest technology, which I would like to show you and present to you now, which we call, so it took us quite a long time. So it took us basically 25 years where we had to master human experience and deal with different eye tracking developments and technologies So, and we also saw the limitations. So now, after 25 years, Seal is born. And by the way, this is also AI generated. It's not a real picture, but we like it. So what is Seal? Seal stands for Smartphone Eye Tracking Algorithm, and it's a technology that is combining the in-context testing platform with our new eye tracking. So one and one go together. And it's, so to speak, an expansion or extension of our in-context testing platform. It's a technology, it works fully standalone with in-context. It doesn't need an app. You don't have to download an app. It's based on the browser. It has a very easy-to-use user interface. It's compatible with any device and operating system. It works on iOS and on Android. It works on smartphones, on tablets, and also on webcam eye tracking. So it works on different devices, and it's easy to integrate into the panel, and it's affordable from a pricing point of view. And what we have spent a lot of time is, of course, on the last one, we still want to get excellent precision. So the industry benchmarks by other companies are quite high, but we believe we have a very good level of precision reached with our offering, and so this is basically these are the key features of our new Seal eye tracking technology. So let's move to the next slide, but it doesn't work. What is the impact of Seal? So basically, when you remember my previous part of the presentation talking about the eye tracking history, of course it's a big advancement. Now using the smartphone of the user without any prior download or application app to use, it's a big step forward, and it's elevating the eye tracking to the next level. And let's look at, so therefore we would like to see the next slide, hopefully. Let's take a look at how Seal is really looking, feeling, and seeing. So I want to show you some videos, how it looks like. Okay. So what it does is, we currently support, in-context supports, I think, more than 30 different social media platforms. We currently support with our technologies these 4 platforms. We support different ad formats. Of course, more ad formats and more platforms will be coming soon and will be added over the next couple of months. So many of you know our in-context testing environment, where we inject ads into a live environment. And now with the addition of the eye tracking, we also get a much more deeper understanding of the user's behavior on in the testing environment. So basically, what is the user flow? It starts on the left side with the user instruction. Of course, the user has to give his or her consent to use the camera, the selfie camera on the phone. Then there's a calibration phase in the middle, so where we have to generate the user-specific profile to be used or applied to our model. And then we have the actual in-context testing, which you see here on the right side. And if you look at the attention with in-context only, of course, attention matters when you compare different media platforms. So here's an example of how on different social media platforms the attention differs. But when you add eye tracking information to this, you get also things like reach and dwell time as additional information, which is very helpful in some of the research questions you might have. And so what we can also do is we can view or look at different areas of the smartphone or the tablet and define if, and determine if someone has been looking at this and for how long it has been looking at this. Of course, there's a limit on how many segments you can make on a small device like a phone, but I think, or we believe that this will add some really valuable information to the test question or research question that can be answered with this technology. And so this is also something that we are experimenting with, and it's not released yet, but it will be released sometime in the near future, that we also segment the screen in different social media parts where ads are injected or So what is on our roadmap, and this is how I also want to end. Well, as I mentioned before, we add new ad formats in the near future, which will also include TV as a test environment. We also include automated reportings. It's the integration of the eye tracking metrics in the in-context reporting page. And we also plan to expand this model, the eye tracking, with emotions. So that is something planned for next year. But this will then give not only the System 0, but also the System 1 metrics based on this fully integrated system. And of course, we want to also explore different use cases in other industries like gaming, accessibility, safety, outside of just the pure market research area where this interesting technology can be applied to. So thank you very much, and if you have any questions, please.
Their hands now.
And one thing, here are two barcodes. So these are two demos. You can one is on Facebook and one is on YouTube. So you can see the eye tracking in action if you use this.
Yeah, thank you, Friedrich, for this brief history lesson, but also the outlook for our very own technology. Right, I think if there are any questions from the audience, we can answer those. If anybody wants to. Philip, you're holding the mic. Maybe you have one.
Of course, we can also mention our partners here, who are our guests here today, who helped us in this, and not only this, but many other projects, our DAC friends and colleagues.
Yeah, great. Big thanks to DAC.
And the team behind it, sitting here representing it now. It's a big team behind this project. Friedrich already mentioned. Are there any technical or any eye tracking questions? If not, kind of hand over back to Simon, who Also, have to thank a lot and give applause to.
Thank you.